Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Story Mirror podcast series. We've usually seen science and spirituality have held debates over centuries. Miracles are God's designated jobs, and then He gave doctors the responsibility to carry them out. Today, we have a special story and a special guest with us. A story of divine intervention and two brave doctors. Joining us today is the author of The Pendulum and Purpose. Welcome, sir. Dr. Sandip Rane, a doctor whose life journey moves between science, faith, and profound personal reflection. Through his writing, he explores the delicate balance between suffering and purpose, offering readers the unseen forces that guide our lives. Hello, sir. It's a pleasure to have you. So, I was going through the book and titled The Pendulum and Purpose. What does that signify in the story of your life?
Actually, it took me a long time to decide about this title because life is never a straight line. There's always ups and downs. So it resembles a pendulum. It's always swinging between up and down, to and fro.
Correct.
And there is everything about life. So we always have ups, but we also have downs. We should look at the upside of life. That's the reason why the name, The Pendulum and the Purpose.
Getting a little more into the book's cover, there's a photo of Lord Krishna on it. So, how does that relate to your life journey? And there are two incidents that have happened. So, how does that relate to Lord Krishna and the entire journey?
Actually, it so happened that both my wife and myself, we fell sick, critically ill, on a particular day, and that was Krishna Janmashtami. And my wife fell ill on the 10th of August 2012. That was Krishna Janmashtami, and I fell ill again 8 years later on the same day. And when I was going to the hospital, my doctor told me that, Dad, don't worry. Last time Mom fell sick on Krishna Janmashtami, Lord Krishna saved her. So this time also Lord Krishna will save her. I did. That's the importance of Lord Krishna in life.
That's really nice. It's quite I wouldn't say coincidence, but again, as I mentioned, a divine intervention on the same. So, as I said in introduction also that there's been a debate that science and spirituality. There's always a debate that people who believe in science, they are filled with logic and practical aspects. So, how this journey changed your vision on that, on spirituality and faith?
See, both of us were very critically ill. My wife went through a severe brain hemorrhage where 80% of people don't reach the hospital. I had COVID and I was on the ventilator for almost a month, going to a very critical stage. When I got COVID and when I was on the ventilator, 80% of people didn't survive the ventilators. So science is always there, but if we were to go by science alone, we would have saved everyone. Despite the great criticalities of my wife and myself, I think we went beyond science, and I think it was spirituality. So many people all over the country were praying for it, and I think that is a power of prayers.
Absolutely, that's true. So, as a cardiologist, your experience over the years, how different is it, emotionally when you're on the other side of the bed? Being the doctor for so many years and now you're on the opposite side. How was it and, how did it impact your empathy side?
See, immediately after I was on the ventilator, I had a tracheostomy. I had a hole in my neck over here, from which the ventilator was connected. Then I was off the ventilator, but I still had the hole. And I wanted to convey to the nurses around and the ward that I wanted a bedpan. And they could not understand. They gave me a paper to write down. But by the time I had so much weakness that despite writing on the paper, I myself could not understand it. That was a time when I realized what it is to have an empathy for a patient, to understand what a patient needs. I realized that unless you understand your patients on an empathetic basis, it is so important to us. There are so many critically ill patients with stroke who are not able to speak. if we are not having empathy towards these patients, I mean, we are not giving them justice.
Correct. Because I feel that they are already in pain.
And at that point of time, I told the physiotherapist to close this hole. So they prepared a special ball, they closed it, and I had my voice back. It was such a relief to get a voice back and to be able to communicate with the patients really quickly. So many times we have chronic patients who are sick. We don't understand what they want to say.
So, your journey, as you mentioned, that it involved multiple stages where you touched death and you come back. So, how did you maintain that, faith?
In the last 40 years of my practice that I've been practicing, I have seen so many patients not getting a second chance to survive. They are just dropped dead. You see a patient fail and hearty today and tomorrow is no more. And there have been so many instances where people have tried the level best and they have not survived despite this medical treatment. Whereas here I had 9 different experiences, very close to death, came out of it. I think that itself gives me a purpose, that God has kept me back here to touch humanity and make a difference to humanity.
Absolutely, and I think that's very important that you realize that and you understood that, because many people know that, but they cannot, apply into their daily lives.
Yes.
And being a doctor, I think you have that opportunity.
Yes. I always tell all my staff that you are not working for the running hospital. You are working for the people of this country. We need to give back to us.
That's very nice.
Yes. And our people require us more than going abroad and serving people. Because there's so much need of medical therapy in our country. If you see, now I'm practicing in Mumbai. If you go 60 kilometers outside Mumbai, the medical treatment is so woefully lacking. People have to travel for almost an hour to get treatment. So, being in the medical profession, we are thinking of ways and means by which we can reach out to the remote villages of Maharashtra, maybe the country.
So, how do you define resilience, like after everything what you've experienced? The importance of resilience.
Never give up is a beautiful statement, and I think it is beautifully defined by the words of Lord God. This tells you that the day you are born, your death is written. So I think every opportunity that you get to live again a second time, it gives you a nice purpose for living and towards a direction, towards a goal. So I think that is resilience. You just got multiple opportunities, you have to give back to people.
Nice. So, your book also talks about the parallel journey of your wife being medically ill. So, how did this adversity, of strengthened your bond together? So, both of them having felt the same situation, touching death and coming back, how did it impact on the bond, I would say spiritually and in general also?
Actually, my wife fell sick sometime. So it's 14 years now. And the journey to her recovery was a great challenge. She had spent about 90 days in the hospital. She went through all the complications described in textbooks, following a brain hemorrhage, yet she's bounced back. And it is the support of my family, it's my children and myself and other supportive people who helped us in her recovery. The story is a long story, right from the physiotherapist, the caretaker, the person on the golf club, the golf course, the caddy, who all contributed to her recovery. And I think when someone is sick, it's a support system that helps in recovery. And if my wife is in a normal today, it is because of the support system.
That's absolutely true, because your environment plays a very important role in this.
When someone is very sick, he or she is not able to convey or communicate the messages. It is at this point of time that you learn something new, how to understand a person who cannot communicate. When you have a pet with you, you realize that pet, despite not talking to you, can understand the emotions and feelings of the pet. Similarly, when a person is sick, if you are able to understand the deep feelings which that person has, it helps to enhance the bonding between humans.
That's true, because there are we being able to speak, and after we are ill, we are not able to speak. But there are also disabled people who cannot hear or cannot speak. At this time, you understand that how difficult it is for them.
See, I always tell people that if you want to love someone the way your pet loves you. He's not talking to you, but he still communicates with you. So when someone is handicapped and is not able to communicate, that is a time when he or she needs you the most. And that is a time when a higher level of it takes the thought process to a higher level of understanding what humanity is and what human needs are. These things are not taught in any books, either in school or college or even in life. These are taught by lessons given actually in life.
Yeah, so based on the experiences that you
Yes,
get in your life.
yes.
So, is there any particular moment that you felt that this has strengthened my belief? Either I'm thinking that you might have been believing on God and spirituality before these incidents as well. But how much has it strengthened after these incidences, and you been recovered fully because of the faith, and as you mentioned about Krishna Janmashtami? How has it strengthened?
I think the three milestones in my life which really enhanced my faith and trust in God was the first episode when my wife was sick. So this was in 2012. It so happened that I was leaving for Fortis Hospital and I was getting dressed up. My wife came. She said she was sick. And right in my presence, she had a cardiac arrest. I revived her. Had this episode happened 5 minutes later, if I would have left for Fortis Hospital, the story would have been different. This particular episode, 2016, I went for a cardiac surgery. It's supposed to be a simple operation, and with all the complications came out of it. Again, people prayed for me all over. In 2020, first episode, first wave of COVID, a very bad time. Again, people prayed for me. I think so many people sacrificed, so many people all over the country. There were two principals of two schools, one is Father Agnes, Father Alveda, and Father Francis of Nothing High School. They activated churches all over the country. And people from all over the country were praying for a recovery. I think what more you require to enhance your faith in God?
Absolutely true. You won.
There's a church of nurses at Milan, where they only pray for recovery. In that particular church is activated God. No, I think yes, science is there, but unless God is with you, it may not be possible for you to come out of all the times. And that's the reason why I have 9 lives.
That's absolutely true. And we just need our belief true, and it can be seen in any form that other people praying for you. That is also that cannot happen because only it can happen only because of
You may not actually see God, but you see God in different forms. And the people who prayed for us, different. In fact, all the doctors who helped me in recovery at different points of time, and even the doctors who helped in my wife's recovery, I call them as messengers of God. It is through them that God helped us in recovery.
absolutely true. So, how did you decide that you want to write a book on these incidents? That what was it? What thought was it behind writing a book on these
Actually,
incidents?
I think very few people, probably in fact I mentioned in the book also, that we must be the only couple who are moving around with a scar on our neck. Only couple in the world on the globe who are trotting, actively moving around and making a difference to humanity. So I thought I should share my experiences with people. There are many families who go through such chronic problems, and they are desperate as to how they can go around handling the situations. So I have learned lessons which are not in textbooks. I have learned lessons which are beyond what teachings can be offered. These are like real life lessons which help you in understanding humanity and making a difference to humanity. So I thought I should share my experience with people across the globe, not only in our country but across the globe, so that people who have some member of the family who is differently able, they can handle such situations on a long-term basis and rally around that person. Because support system of the family is as important as basically treating the patient. Yes. So I want to share my experience and how it gave me a purpose in life.
Yeah, that defines the title itself.
Yes,
Pendulum
yes,
and
yes,
purpose. So we'll have a quick rapid fire round to just add a fun element to the podcast. So faith or logic?
Faith.
One Bhagavad Gita verse that defines your life.
Just do your work. Don't believe in spirituality and outcomes of God.
Science explains life, but spirituality explains
Faith.
a moment when you felt divine intervention.
I think my wife went through all the complications, and I don't think I could have saved her just because of science. It was divine intervention.
Hospital or temple? Where do you feel closest to God?
I think both are equally good. In both we are equally close. I think in hospital probably I think I'm closer to God because we are actually saving lives and making a difference in life. Because in temples we go with the objective of wanting something for yourself. Here we are giving something. We are working like messengers of God in hospitals.
Very, very deep answer for all the viewers also that we go to temples and we have different wants, but actually when he answered that hospital, even I gave it a thought that's absolutely true, that saving somebody is more than wanting for yourself. So yeah, one spiritual habit that you practice daily.
I think helping as many people as possible to achieve whatever they want in life.
One word for Lord Krishna.
Savior.
So, what are, I would say, 5 lessons from your book that people, whoever is going to read, will get 5 important lessons, key lessons, I would say?
I think, let me go through the entire narrative. 5 lessons will be: number 1 is patience. Number 2 is perseverance. Number 3 is support. Number 4 is empathy. And number 5 is never give up. Never give up. Because both of us went through such problems. Had we given up, we would not have been alive. There was a point of time where when my wife went through all the complications and every day she was being moved on the cath lab, some doctor said, don't trouble that. I said, no, I'm not. I think never give up is the mantra for anything in life.
And what will readers take away to conclude the last question? What will the readers take away from this? One thing, that one emotion I would say that they will take away from it
is no matter what, be there to support your own family members and be more empathetic towards the differently able people whom you should understand more as a society. And in our country, we still do not have that much understanding for differently able people. I think we should create a movement to help the differently able people. In fact, though I would not say senior citizens are differently able, but there's a big niche for helping senior citizens. And now I'm on the verge of starting a cooperative movement for senior citizens, so that we take care of senior citizens in their own homes and don't put them into the homes of age.
Yes, that's, I think, recently we've heard quite a lot about old age homes.
I
Sad.
For one, I would like to die in my own house because every square inch of my house has influence. And when you put a person into a home for the aged, he may be looked after, he may be cared for, but he doesn't get those properties. And in the home for the aged, they die of loneliness. And we want to focus on breaking loneliness, the barrier of loneliness with success. We are working on that.
So thank you so much, sir, for your discussion on spirituality, faith, and how you mentioned that science plays its role, but beyond science, there is something which is the divine. Thank you so much.
Thanks.